Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of my podcast. I don't know the name of it yet. I was thinking something along the lines of Forever and Beyond. Maybe because it's the English translation of the name of my store. But we'll see. I don't know yet. Um, I already know the next 10 topics for the podcast. And so, first, there's something that I discovered this week, which is really cool. Pretty Little Liars. Um, it's really hard for me to say it. Pretty Little Liars. I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't really come out, but um, Jenna, the character, and Paige. So of course, Paige is the same actress of Ned's Declassified, whatever the title is. And I already knew that she was doing a podcast with the cast of Ned's. So I already knew that. But I found that she did a podcast 2 years ago with the Jenna character. And first of all, I didn't know they were friends. And I knew that she really had that she was edgy and funny because I saw the other podcast, but I didn't really, I don't know, I guess I was surprised a little bit the that Jenna um was was so funny and was so I don't know, that they had such good chemistry together. I don't know, I was really surprised, and so I started watching it. The first one that I watched was the episode with Allison. So basically, there was Paige, Jenna, and Allison talking about the show, and then I started watching other episodes, and then I was like, okay, I think I have to start from the beginning, and so I started watching the first episode, and now I did most of them, and I don't know where the show went because there's only the last episode was a year ago. And so I don't know what happened with that, but it's such a good show. It's such a good show, and they're perfect together. I really didn't expect that, and at the end there's this segment where they talk with a death investigator, and the show is called Pretty Little Liars True Crime. It's such a good show. Oh my god, I'm watching it the whole time I'm here at the store and I'm doing stuff. I'm watching it, and like when I will be out of episodes, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they stopped because they have beef or something, or just because I don't know. But I would I would really want it to come back and do the whole show and talk about the whole show. And also they have guests, um their guests are other members of the crew or other actors that did the show. Such a good podcast. Anyway, today's topic that I want to talk about is because a week ago was my son's third birthday. I want to talk about this the fact that I'm a mother, I'm a mommy, mamacita, and um, for sure I want to do like we want to do Joe and I in his podcast in his podcast, Radio Johnny. We want to do a whole thing where we talk about it together. Um, that's gonna be in Italian. So this is my personal view on it. Um, and so Okay, let's see. It's a bit tricky because I really want to keep most of it personal, but at the same time, um, I also want to talk about it because, well, first of all, because it's gonna be like, um, I want to talk about it while it's like kind of fresh, because I know like in many years I will not remember like all the details, um, and it was a very strange situation, the one that I went through, and so I don't know. So yeah, future CC, this is the story of how you were born. Um, so when I found out that I was pregnant, I um I was really surprised. Um, and but thankfully, because I had like hormonal issues with my cycle, so like I tried to do this anti-inflammatory regimen where I never drank coffee basically even before, but I started like I was like no tea, no no caffeine whatsoever, no alcohol, and like no like basically the most important was no tea, no bubble tea, no tea, because I since I was living in England, I really started being obsessed with tea, and I stopped it. And so I was not drinking that. I was not drinking alcohol, even like a sip, like nothing. And just nothing. Not like a little bit, nothing. And so thankfully for that, like the pregnancy was really healthy since the beginning, if, even when I didn't know. And then I was just like, I don't know, I feel like something is weird with me. And it's like, but my cycle is really weird and really strong, and it feels like I'm pregnant every single month basically, because like I'm all swollen and I get nauseous and I get dizzy and I get headaches, and it just feels like I'm pregnant every single time. So it wasn't really different for me that, but I don't know. I was like, there's something like I'm so angry. Like I'm so angry and like I cannot um usually I contain myself, or if I'm upset at something, like at someone for something, I just say it nicely or like, and I was like, I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone because I will just basically like sh- I don't know. I just want to I was like I feel like I want to bite everyone's head off, and that really never happens for me. And so um because I was working with my dad at the time, and I'm usually like I know I cannot like disagree with him in like a very aggressive way, and he asked me to do something. and 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 I was like, no, that's stupid, I'm not gonna do it. And he was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, I cannot contain like my opinions anymore. And then I was having like pain here, and I was like feeling really weird, and I was like, there's something wrong. And I started thinking like I'm sick, like I have, because I was swelling, and I was like, I'm not getting my period. And so in my mind I was thinking like my period is stuck, and I'm swelling because like the blood is like building up inside of me, um which it kind of was, but like in a different way. And and I feel so like full of this like liquid. Like I was so and and so I was like, I feel like there's like a something like a mass or something that is blocking all this thing inside of me, and and so, but of course I was like, because I think it's something hormonal that is connected to my cycle. I'm gonna take a pregnancy test just because that's the first thing that they're gonna ask me, you know. Um, and I was like, "There's no way I'm not pregnant," because at the time I was really thinking that I wasn't that it was not gonna happen. I don't know why. I was like, um, and so I I took the pregnancy test, and I was and I was like, this is gonna be really a good footage footage to have for my infertility journey that I thought I was going to go through like later. And so I was like, oh, this is like, it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to look at this, or maybe like the moment that I discover that I'm either the test was going to say that I was pregnant, but it was going to be a false positive, because I was thinking also that this mass that I had was um like messing with my hormones, and so that it was going to be positive, but it was going to be still like another health issue, or that it was going to be negative, and I just wanted to, I don't know, feel myself like having that, okay, I'm not pregnant, I'm sick, and I just wanted to film that moment. And then so obviously the test said that I was pregnant, and I was just so, and I was still thinking to myself, okay, there's like this big possibility that I'm actually pregnant, and that the pregnancy is gonna go great, and that I'm gonna actually have a baby out of this big. And then there was this big of a possibility that um it was like something was still wrong. But I was like, okay, I did the test. It says this, but of course, then the like the doctors um make you do a blood test, and that was also positive, but with the right amount of hormones for pregnancy. And so then they make you do the ultrasound, and then and then so a literal it's kind of almost like it's like a bean with legs, kind of. Ugh, and then I was like, okay, I have to tell Joe. But I had, but when I told him, like he could already see it, like see him, and um, and so I came home from the doctors, and so the weeks before that he was like, you're weird, aren't you pregnant? Like, are you pregnant? And I was like, what? No. It's like, I don't know, like something's happening. Like, what um like did you are you getting your period? Because like he could notice something. And then I show him like the little, the one that goes and so and I think because I had a few, like I had more time to process this, like a few weeks more than him, where it went from the test to the blood test to the images. um I wasn't like that in shock, but for him it was just like he didn't know what to. Um, but it was not like a bad shock. It was more, okay. Hold on. It was more of a shock in the sense of um Like, oh my God, I really want this, but I'm scared that it's not gonna last. That was the main thing for us. It was, look at this little thing, and we love it already. You know, but it's like, let's not start thinking that we're gonna have a baby, um, because it's probably not gonna happen. And so, um, we didn't tell anyone until, so we told my family when I was 5 months pregnant, and it was the day that we did the 3D ultrasound where they show the face and they count all the little bones, and they look at the valves in the heart and everything. And so they basically tell you, look, it really looks like it's a healthy baby, and if you're 5 months, the chance of something bad happening is fairly low. And so, and also they tell you, okay, you're pregnant, but also the baby looks healthy. And so that, I didn't want to send my parents and like get their hopes up, and that it was too soon. I know some people do like, they take a test and they're like, oh my God, we're having a baby. And in my mind, it's like, no, you're not. You're literally not. I mean, it's not enough. That the test is not enough for you to think that. I mean, for me and for Joe, it was just like, we're not. It we didn't feel that way. And then, so I told my family at 5 months. I told my friends that I think that I was 6.5 months pregnant. And we kept it a secret for a long time, because I guess for us it was like, we're not we're not sure it's going to happen. And of course, because I also talked about this with my, like, we talked about it with a therapist, and of course it is a way of protecting yourself from, like, the hurt and the disappointment if something goes wrong. So that, of course. But also it was so nice to go through this, because it was the first time by ourselves, um, and not have to talk about it with anyone. That was so nice. That was so nice to have it as a secret like that. Um, because then you tell people, and then they treat you differently, and then they ask you questions, and then, they just want to tell you what to eat and what to do. And we started studying like pregnancy and how, so it was such a good thing. But because of that, I had to hide my belly for a long time. And so I don't really have that many flattering pictures with my baby bump, and I didn't really enjoy that part of it. Um, but yeah, so during the pregnancy, I had such a great pregnancy. Oh my God. I didn't throw up once. I just felt kind of like like something here, some like I was, my head was upside down. And then I did feel a bit like dizzy, like I was spinning, but I never threw up. And um I started I started losing weight, not weight, but like water weight. I was so swollen before getting pregnant. And then during the pregnancy, I I wasn't that, I just had like a huge belly, and that was it. Like everywhere else, my face, like swelled down, and everywhere, you know. I felt so good. I wasn't tired. I I felt just amazing. I like I had, everyone has a little issues, with their body, and they all went away. Like, I felt so great, and that's also why, like, I really miss it. But you know, I cannot, like, for the past 2 years where maybe I already wanted another baby, I couldn't try for that. So, but I really miss it. I mean, I want other babies, and that's the most important thing. But at the same time, I'm not like, oh, I want babies, but pregnancy is hard. For me, it was amazing, amazing, and I did massages, and when I would do massages, um, I could feel the baby relaxing and like sleeping. It was just, it was just amazing for me. I never thought that I would experience this. I was already thinking, you know what, I'm probably gonna be like, probably not gonna be able to have kids by myself, and so I'm gonna adopt. There's always like, I really wanted to be a mom, but like not necessarily through pregnancy, but for me it was such a great experience. Um and so I was lucky, really lucky. I just got diabetes just at the end, but I didn't have to take medicines or anything. I just um had to like cut sugar from my diet, which was a little bit hard. But I didn't have weird cravings at all. I could eat almost everything except for vegetable soup with Parmesan cheese, like the smell of Parmesan. Ah. But I just, I would eat very healthy. I think um, I didn't have weird cravings, or I wasn't like, oh my God, I have to eat like a burger now. I have to eat ice cream now. I just craved like raw vegetables. Um, and so like my doctor was so suspicious because she was like, so do you have cravings? And I'm like, yeah, like fresh raw vegetables. Um, which in Italy we call pinzimonio. So if you know, you know. And I would eat that every single day for lunch. And that's like the healthiest, like. And so I think she was suspicious because she's like, most women tell me like donuts and cakes and ice cream, and I'm like, no, really, I'm really. And fruit, uh but a lot of raw vegetables. um but I didn't crave like sauerkraut or that kind of, like, I didn't really crave that. Just like raw veggies. That's it. um it makes me so happy to think about it because it was such, I felt so like healthy and pure. And and um I didn't take even a sip. I didn't even smell alcohol or coffee or tea. And if I and it wasn't hard for me at all. I just felt like I'm creating this thing. Like, this is the most important thing for me. Like, I don't care about anything. Like, I don't care about you know anything. And I know there's a lot of people that when they're pregnant they miss coffee, or they miss wine, or they miss cigarette. I don't smoke, but like, they really, like, it's a struggle for them. But maybe, maybe, just maybe, what I think is that, well, maybe they're addicted, and I don't know what that means for me, but maybe, like, I don't know. I don't want to say. Um, but yeah, for me, it was like so important, this thing, that I didn't care about anything. And so I had this great, great pregnancy, and the baby was fine. And I remember, um, I could I could feel his personality even before he was born. Like, uh, I knew when he moved what he wanted, what he liked about what I was doing. So after I would eat, after like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, he would start like really, really moving a lot. And in my mind, he was eating, he was eating. And then that he would stop, and that in my mind he was like taking a nap after lunch. I don't know. I felt like, I knew him, and this is why it was really scary for me. Um, because I was like, I really want this to last. Like, I don't know if I can live without this person now. And the fact that you feel them inside of you, and like like literally, I still have this connection that it's like it's a part of my body. It's like a part. It's a part of me in the sense, not like Joe is a part of me, like he's my partner, but it's like a part of my body. Like there's this connection. Like when I touch him, when we sleep together, or just when I held his hand, I just feel like there's like a flow from my body, like to he. It's like there's like this physical, like cellular thing that, and he was he was here. Um, Such a good feeling. And then like I would like cuddle him and touch his feet because his feet were here, and I would be like, "Oh, these are your little feet," and he would stomp me, and he does that now. So like his personality was there already, um, and it was really amazing for me. But I was so, and people were telling me like, "Oh, so um, what are you gonna do when he's born, or And in my mind I was like, if he will be born, I was still not sure like that. And that really helped me be ready whatever happened, because some people, again, they take the pregnancy test and it's positive. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna be a mom. And for me it's like, so whatever happens, you're gonna be so upset. But and then I was 6 months pregnant, and then seven, and then eight, and then 9 months pregnant. But I had to get induced because he was not, like, he surpassed the 10 days that they let you try to give birth naturally, and then they induced birth, and it was fucking awful. And I'm going to talk about this because it's something that has to do with the local, like, Italian like Ravenna medical system, hospital things. And so I'm gonna discuss this in more detail in Radio Gianni with Joe, because it's going to be in Italian and I want Italian people to really understand it. And after I gave birth, I remember thinking I want to write like an expose article, and just like, because it was horrible, but not because of me or because of the baby. We did our best, but I was treated like the whole thing. So my labor, or my birth story, my labor, I guess. I don't know, like the thing when they start to induce you until the moment that he was born was 51 and a half hours. Okay, and it was like late June, so 35 degrees Celsius. Um, and basically, so when they give you the induction thing, they put this balloon that's supposed to stretch or whatever, and that gave me like a pain that's similar to the like my pre-cycle pain, like my PMS pain, like a little. It was a little hurting here, but like just a little. Um, and that was, I think, I don't remember if it was for 12 hours or 24 hours, but they leave that and didn't do anything. And then, and I slept for the first time in a hospital for the first time ever, that night, and had this little pain here, and then I had brought like the first Harry Potter book to read. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be so, like, such a cool night. I'm gonna be here reading this book, and then tomorrow I'm gonna give birth. And I saw at night I read a little bit of the book, and And then I wrote in my diary, and I'm gonna be like, tomorrow it's gonna be the day. I'm gonna sleep, and then tomorrow I'm gonna give birth. But basically, when I was there, it was so noisy, and the nurses kept coming in and checking on me and waking me up and leaving the door open and leaving the window open. And during the day, where maybe I wanted to sleep because I couldn't sleep at night, the the like the showers were always open, and so it was daylight all the time, and it was awful. And then everything was awful, how they treated me, because I was tired. Because the next day they give you these little shots that are supposed to make you give birth, but they didn't, and that was another 24 hours. Um, so I think at this point I was 36 hours and I hadn't slept, and I was tired, and I had contractions, and but mostly I was tired, and I was really tired, and the baby was tired. Like, I think when Sissy was born, he fell asleep. Like, he went wah and then once, and he fell asleep, and his eyes were so tired. And I remember thinking, like, he's not crying like in the movies, you know. In the movies, they cry and cry and cry, and you can hear that. And he just went, meh, and fell asleep. And I was like, oh my God, something's wrong. And they're like, no, no, like he's breathing, like everything's fine. He's just really tired. Um, and he slept like 10 hours that night straight. We were both so tired because when you're giving birth, the baby pushes with his feet, pushes himself down with his feet. And so he was so tired because of course they're inside the belly and they can feel the contraction and they push themselves. And he was so tired, but we really did our best. And I didn't want to get an epidural. I don't know why. I guess I don't even know why. I was scared of the needle. But also it was kind of like, you're there and you're like, I would just want to feel like my ancestors, and I don't want to be privileged in doing this. But after almost 48 hours, I was like, I'm done. Because then they gave me, I think I did all the shots, but they didn't do anything. So 8 shots every 3 hours. They didn't do anything. So that's why they would wake me up every 3 hours to take the shot. Anyway, and then I think they give me oxytocin right at the end because they were like, you have to give birth now. And then that worked, and that broke my waters, and then I think to give birth it didn't take me that long. I think it was maybe 4 hours. I give birth like 10:30 at night, so I think, yeah, something like 4 or 5 hours. But I did sleep a little bit because then I got the epidural because I was so tired and my legs were so tired, and I just couldn't handle the pain anymore. Not because of how strong it was, which was part of it, because like I really couldn't breathe. But the thing is, they tell you, like when you go to like mom school or whatever, the pregnancy school, they they tell you you're gonna have these very strong contractions, but then they're gonna go away and then you can breathe and you can, recoup. That didn't happen to me. I think because I was so tired and I was so tense for like two days that my back was hurting nonstop, my legs were hurting nonstop, my head, my neck. I was exhausted, and because they didn't let me sleep. And to me, I think, if you want me to be strong enough to give birth tomorrow or like in 2 days or whatever, like you have to let me make sure that I sleep. And they didn't do that, and they were horrible. Um, but yeah, so that when I gave birth, I did the epidural, and I slept a little bit, And then I woke up and I was like, listen, I'm so tired. Like, promise me that I don't want him to get stuck and lose oxygen or because a lot of issues that a baby can have are during birth, you know. And so I was like, I don't know if he's gonna come out. Promise me that if he gets stuck or I fell asleep or I can't do this, you will cut me open and take this baby out because I was like, I'm just so exhausted. I'm gonna try and push, but I don't know, like I just want to sleep. And I was like, I don't think I can do it. Um, but I think when I fell asleep and I fell asleep with this huge ball between my legs, um, I think when I fell asleep, because I was so tense and tired, the baby was not going down. But when I fell asleep, it went down like a lot. And so when I wake up, the 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 lady was like you're ready to push. But because I had the epidural, I couldn't feel the contractions. And so the one of the bad things of epidural that I think, at least for me, is that because you don't feel the contractions, you kind of push when you're not supposed to. Um, and so when you push when you're not supposed to, you kind of like cause uh, tearing. Um, because you're pushing when it's not when it's not, you know, not the right moment. And so the lady didn't really, like, she was waiting for me to tell her when I thought that I would, but I had to push. And I was like, I don't, like, you have to tell me. I don't know, because there was this machine that's supposed to tell you when the contractions. And she was like, no, don't look at that, you have to tell me. And I was like, I don't know. And so I don't know, I just, and 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 I really thought that he was stuck and that I couldn't do it. And she was like, you need to do more. I'm like, why are you being so mean? And she was talking to me like I wasn't trying enough. And I'm like, and I had sprained so many muscles inside of me, and I could feel my eyes popping out, and like I was like clutching my teeth, and I was like, and she was like, no more. And I'm like, what do you mean more? Um, and you know, and at one point she was like, okay, like, and I was like, and he was like, I can see his head. And I was like, oh my God, he's that far down. So anyway, and then when he told me that, I was like, okay, so he's in a very delicate spot where he's not supposed to be for very, very long because it's very like tight for him. And so, and then I was like he needs to get out, out. Um, and then there's also another reason why, because it was 10:30 and I was like, you know, it's the end of, like it's almost midnight. He has to get out. Um, and so I just, and I think in that moment I was like, this is not really my body anymore. And like I know that I'm gonna do this push and maybe like my eyes will pop and my teeth will fall and maybe like my everything that here will like break. And but it's like I just have to do it. And I think um I was pushing before, but I wasn't pushing like I'm pushing like to destroy myself. But then at that moment I was like, I don't know, like I'm prepared to explode to make this baby go out. And so I don't know, is this something that I can put on the internet? I don't know. But because I will not be able to talk about this with Joe because, you know, this is he doesn't, like, he was there and he was there and he watched the whole thing and he even cut the cord and everything. Um, but it's really like it was pretty traumatic for both of us and for him especially because um I had the hormones and stuff, but he really he really watched it. And also he doesn't like talking about blood. I lost a lot of blood. I had a lot of tearing, and the recovery was because I after giving birth, I um I was I had lost a lot of blood, and already before giving birth my iron was really low, and so basically I felt like fainting every time I would sit up or stand up. I almost fainted while I tried to go pee in the bathroom, and I could feel my ears burning, like there was hot blood coming out of my ears, and they were like, "No, this is dangerous. Like you cannot stand up." And so it was hard for me to recover from this, and I missed the first bath of my baby because they did it like in another room, and I was supposed to get up, but I couldn't get up. And so Joe went, and I saw pictures, but I couldn't go. And it was really hard for me to do anything after that for months. But after 6 months, I was kind of okay. I had just healed medically, let's say. And but after a year, because they tell you, oh, it takes a year to, fully recover, even like psychologically for me. I did have, I think I had postpartum for the first at least a month or 2 months. It was really bad 2 weeks after it, but I think it was also, and this is what I realized a year after I gave birth. I think I had PTSD because I almost died. This is what I think. That it's literally the best thing that I did and the best day of my life, and it was it was just amazing, when it was born. But it wasn't like those birth where you see like the baby just comes out and then the mom like walks, and and the mom does her makeup, and like I couldn't understand why I was feeling so weird for like months and months and months. So again, the first few months I was really like, I was crying. I was like, I don't know, I have this thing inside of me, and I really felt really like depression, and I really felt like I have this thing inside of me that I just don't know if I can live anymore. Like I don't know if I know how to live anymore. And there's this baby, and I want to do everything to this baby, and I want to be here for this baby. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not connected to this world anymore. Um, and you just feel this thing, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? But then I would be with him, with Sissy, and it would just like be like, this is paradise. But it's like paradise, but I don't know. But the thing is, you don't know if it's gonna go away, and so you're like, can I live like this? Like I'm so happy with him, but like as soon as I'm not holding him, I just feel like I'm in hell. And the thing is, because it's the first baby, you don't know if it's gonna go away, and and so you're like, what have I done? Um, and you're like, what have I done? I'm not gonna be able to sleep ever again. I'm not gonna be able to do anything. Um, I like, what have I done? I messed up all my habits and my life, and like, what have I done? When I was alone without him, and when I couldn't see him, when I saw him, I could see, okay, everything is for this. Okay. But then, like, when he's not there, you're like, what have I done? I'm not gonna be able to be like a happy mom, or like I will never be organized ever again. I will never not be like lose it because I was so out of it because I couldn't sleep. And also I had I had lost blood, and I and like breastfeeding was really hard because I had to drink a lot and eat a lot to get this milk out, and it was summer. It was so hot and I was sweating all the time, and I would drink but I would sweat it right out. So it was hard, but um, I think I fully healed from that a year later. And so that was a long time, and I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that because you see some people, they give birth, and maybe the pregnancy is harder, but the birth is easier, and they they don't, if they, the baby sometimes it comes out, especially if it's not the first baby, it comes out. Or maybe like you get a C-section, and yes, it's like surgery and whatever, but the pushing and the being stuck, and the that was so scary for me, and just like I went this close to ruining everything for me and this baby, and like this close, I'm like, what if I hadn't pushed enough, or just it was so scary, and um I didn't feel normal until a year later. And then, yeah, also because like when the baby comes out, and you have to make sure they don't die, because it's really easy for it to happen. And so like once it's past a year, you're like, okay, now the baby's bigger, stronger, and he knows how to do stuff. And it's like, but me as a person, after a year, I was like, okay, now I think I'm gonna be closer, like similar to what I was before the birth. And you're like, okay, so I am coming back to myself. Um, and now my life is so much better. It's so much better. And it was 100% worth it, of course. And but I'm so close to it that I do remember the the pain and everything. And so I I I remember that still. And I know I will forget it slowly, but I think because I I processed it a little bit a, like I give birth to my son, but also like I almost died. And so this is why for me it took a long time to just feel like I'm alive again. Um, because I nothing had happened to me that was this tragic, not tragic, but like this dangerous for me. Like I didn't do, like a big car accident, or I, and so that was really, really scary. And I could see that I was dealing with PTSD for sure. I could see that. Uh, but now everything is amazing. Everything is amazing, and like it's just a dream. It's just the most beautiful thing ever, 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 ever. And um, I feel in heaven almost every single day. And maybe sometimes things suck, or uh, like I feel like my life is, you know, difficult, or I feel like I'm not. How can I be happy now? Maybe something bad happens. I'm like, so what now? And then I hold him, and it's like I'm still in heaven. Like it does nothing matters. Nothing matters. Nothing, everything, like so many bad things can happen to me, but it just really doesn't matter because like I'm a mom, like I did that. And so it's really just um, this whole new level of life that I never thought that I would be a part of. And I know it's not for everyone. And I know that maybe some people want to have this, but for some reason they're not ready to, or it's just because you need like a partner that you trust. You need to be at a certain point in your life where like you will be able to handle this or it will destroy you, because like if like the pregnancy and all the sacrifices and all the limitations that you have and all the things you have to do, and then even just eating healthy and like no coffee, no drugs, no. And I see like women, I see people pregnant drinking coffee and they're like, yeah, I went down from like 5 cups a day to like one. And it's like, but you're really not supposed to have any. It's like, why are you doing that? I don't know. Like for me, I don't know. It's like if you cannot cut coffee, or if you're like, oh, just a sip of like wine. It's like, well, if you cannot cut a sip of wine, um, I don't know. And so the thing is that I want to say that I kind of lost my train of thought was that there are people that maybe think they want to become parents, but the reality is it's like a it's like a tornado, okay? And if the foundation of your house is not strong enough, everyone, including the baby, including you, and everyone is, and even like the grandparents, because, or the aunts, because, and the uncles, but like everyone in the family, like you're messing their lives too, because if you're, if you're not really invested in your children, then everyone's gonna feel so bad for them, and everyone's gonna be sad, and everyone's gonna be, it's just everyone's life is fucked basically. And you really have this responsibility, which is like the biggest. It's not like, oh, I have a dog, or well, it's closer to the have a dog, but it's like, oh, I have this job and I have to be like a good employee, or I have to be good at my job. It's like, oh, I'm a good friend. It's like when you have a baby, your world is for the baby, and there's a little bit that is left to you, a little bit, um, but it's not like, oh, it's you and you have a baby. It's like you are here now to serve this baby. But yeah, so I think that um, many people talk about having babies like it's not that hard, or like it's just, you know, and one of the other, like just one of the hard things of life. And it's it's like the most important thing. It's like the hardest thing. And all you have to do once the baby is born is so hard, and it's so easy to make mistakes, and you really have to want and do the best job every day, and every day you really have to focus, and you have to be okay making mistakes, and you have to be and and you really need to work on your patience, and you really need to do this. If you're doing it with another person, you really have to do it with a person that you have an amazing relationship with, and then you trust each other, and you know how to communicate and how to resolve conflict really quickly, because once there's a baby there, you cannot like take a week and fight in front of them. It just has to be, everything has to be quick. And so maybe Joe and I, we used to like fight, and we would be like upset, and we would be maybe like be like cranky for days. And now it's like 30 minutes, and you go there and you're like, listen, I'm sorry. And they're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. And you cannot really have a baby like with someone that you've known for a year, can you? Like this, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work unless one person is checked out and the other person is like leading the whole thing. You just have to do it with someone really special. And so yeah, I just went off the rails, I think. So I don't really know if I said all the things that I wanted to say. Yeah. So with about my body, I didn't really care about. I had this. I had body issues because I grew up in the 2000s, and so there was all the skinny models and all that and all that, and so of course I did have that. But um, I I think I worked on it, and I realized before getting pregnant that I just have to love my body. Like I don't care about that anymore. Also because I got really curvy, um, and like especially with like my hormone things that, but now everything is fixed almost. But I feel so much better after the pregnancy than before. And there's a lot of women that say that they feel so much better afterwards. Um, like I'm not getting UTIs. Okay, and I used to have them before. Like a lot of things just found balance. Um, but yeah, so something that I'm still struggling with is because now I'm a mom, and I get I'm always dirty because like the baby, like my son, like cleans his mouth on my clothes. Um, I certainly need to find my style back, and also I need to feel okay like showing my body, because people tell me, like also in my family, like listen, you're over 30, you're a mom, like you cannot wear miniskirts or stuff like, or like what? Um, and so I do need to find my style again, but because I want to be comfortable and I don't want to like mess up nice clothes, or like if I have a belt, the baby's gonna pull on it and break it, and so I need to find that again. That's one of the things that I really want to do this year. Uh, but my body, listen, this was my baby's house. Okay, this is a factory now. It's not. I don't want it to be flat. I I like my boobs are different because I breastfed my baby. Thank you. I'm not gonna do the mommy makeover. That's insulting. That's um that's if you're a really insecure person, which is fine. It's not necessarily your fault, but you just wanna erase every trace that you gave birth, and that for me is insulting to my children, and it's also like, and then you're gonna look weird and fake, and you're gonna look different from them, and you're gonna look like a plastic doll, and that's just like, you're a mom, and that's not what you're supposed to teach your children, first of all. And then they're gonna think that they have to change stuff about themselves, second of all. And then I just, like, I have transcended all these um all these uh what are they called, all these like ideas that people put into me of like how I supposed to look, that I was supposed to have a flat stomach. It wasn't flat before. I always had a little thing here, but now it's like a little more. And yeah, like my boobs are different, and there are other people that immediately put like an implant in them to stretch the skin and to make them pop up. And it's like I made a baby. Like I made a baby. And I feel so beautiful. And I just feel like I don't care. And I used to feel like, oh my God, I have to, suck the stomach and be a certain way. And then I would be like, oh, look at my arms. They're not skinny. And like, I used to feel, oh, like a little stretch mark here, or like maybe here. And I would go crazy and be like, I have to save for a laser treatment or whatever. And I used to put creams on it. And, and I would panic so much. Um, and now this whole pregnancy thing, that I guess for some people is really triggering, and they just want to get plastic surgery and fix everything. For me, I'm even more comfortable in my body, because it's like just it's not just like a mannequin. Like, it's my body, and I feel really good in it, and I also made a baby. And that, I guess, maybe sometimes it's like an excuse to look the way that I look. And I used to look like this before, but now it's like, listen, I had a baby. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Um, but so I feel really good in my body, actually. Really, really good. And also, Joe loves the way that I am. And when he sees my belly, he is like, oh, this was like Sis's house. And so it's just special. And I don't wanna get a tummy tuck or a BBL. That is so insulting to my own body and just to my baby, because I'm basically telling him, listen, you ruined my body and now I have to fix it. And also, I'm telling him, like, I used not to be perfect, and that I have to fix it and be perfect. And so he's gonna look at himself and be like, am I perfect or not? And he's gonna look at like women and be like, oh, they're not perfect because they have belly. It's just such, like, why are you a mom if you do this? This is what I think. And it probably it's like too much to say, but it's literally like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you're a mom. You shouldn't. And I'm not saying you shouldn't care to be like, you know, creative with your look, or to look good, or to be. I'm not saying that you have to not care about yourself anymore. I'm just saying, I think we are normalizing this kind of surgery too much. Okay. And so, yes, I think I'm out of time, but no one, like, I'm not really out of time, because like I can do it this as long as I want. But I think it's been a long time, and I don't have my other phone here to check. But I just really wanted to say, and then I'm gonna talk about other things another time, that when I gave birth, so when I was 7 months pregnant, I opened my pop-up shop. Um, and I worked. So I was supposed to get induced like one day, like, I think it was a Saturday at 7 p.m. And at 6 p.m. I was in my store because it was a client, and this girl was getting like, ended up buying like 200 euro worth of stuff, and I just couldn't leave. And I was like, listen, I'm here. I'll do the checkout for this girl. Like, you have to go pack the bag, the hospital bag. And I was like, and so I worked like not until the last few weeks, like 1 hour before I was going to get induced, because I was feeling so good. I was feeling so good. Um, and then I went back to work with Sissy. I think a few weeks after I gave birth. But I was like, I was so tired that I was sitting down the whole time. Um, and then I was in the shop with the baby, breastfeeding the baby, pumping milk with the baby, and and I don't know. I I I am amazed, honestly, at myself for all of this. But so many other women, like so many other people that are amazing for the things that they do regarding this aspect of life. It's amazing. Um, but yeah, so I feel great now, and CC is such an inspiration for everything that I do. He was the inspiration of opening a shop because I was really, really pregnant and I couldn't do Depop anymore. I couldn't do Depop pics, and um, I'm an OG Depopper, and so at that time, you really wanted to create and try on the clothes, and it was not really about flat lays or that kind of stuff for me, and so I don't know. I was just like, listen, I'm gonna open a pop-up shop, like, because I have to sit down, and that's just gonna be, it's gonna be okay. Because I didn't want to do Depop because people tell you, oh, can I try it on? Can I see? Even if you do flat lays, people are still messaging you like, can I see it on? And so I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and it's because of him that everything started in my career, and that I had the courage to do so many things, and because I do think, this is what I think. I didn't think that I could make a baby, but I made a baby. So why am I not doing all the other things that I want to do? And so I guess that it literally opened my mind. And because if I talked even to my family, and I would be, listen, I want to have it, it would be, no, it's dangerous, it's scary, no, you're not ready, no, no, no. But I did it. And so that also made me think, like, who, why, who am I listening to? Like, why am I listening to other people? I should just do the things that I want. And so it just changed everything for me. The way that I see myself, the way that I see life. Um, like, I feel so much more invincible than before. Did I feel invincible before? Maybe not. Do I completely feel invincible now? No, but I feel, so I don't know why I said that, but I feel so much stronger and so much free, and that I can try and do stuff. And I was lucky, of course, because it all went well. The pregnancy went well and the baby's fine. So I was really lucky, and I'm really, and sometimes you grow up thinking I'm not lucky, no, but I am. And so I I feel so bad for all the other people that have issues with um, pregnancy or with just like their babies. Like, I don't want to talk about it, but I just feel like I can try and do so many things that I thought I was not gonna be able to try and do. You know. Thank you, Sissy, for everything you've done for my life. Um, and yeah, so we'll see each other, me and Sissy, on the next episode. Bye.